So move back to the story. The Rea Vaya board has been dissolved. Business rescue practitioner Mahier Tayob has taken the reins at the bus line operator after Pio-Trans was placed in business rescue last week. Two of the Pio-Trans creditors applied for business rescue, citing alleged mismanagement and maladministration. For more on this story, let's now speak to the regional secretary of SAMWU in Johannesburg, Thobani Nkosi. Thobani, good morning. Thank you so much for making time for us. So the business rescue practitioner said that he has met with the council. He's also met with the labor representatives. I think that's yourself as well. From that meeting, what was your takeaway? And is it true that the SAMWU also supported that Pio-Trans be placed under business rescue?
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers at home. First things first, as SAMWU, we have not met with the appointed person there at Pio-Trans. And number two, there are other trade unions that are there at Pio-Trans. In actual fact, as SAMWU, what we fought for around Rea Vaya and these two companies, remember it's Pio-Trans and SAMWU. We said the city should then take over this particular function. The reason being, we anticipated that such might happen in the long or in the near future. And it's happening exactly that one company is placed under administration as we speak. So as some, we are supporting this particular move. And the reason we support this move, it's high time the government stop outsourcing certain services. The city of Johannesburg has Metro Bus that's fully functional and functioning properly. And in this time around, in this case, we understand it was a pilot project that they were not sure whether it will succeed or not. But it has proven to be successful. And now it was high time that they city to then take over this particular function.
Yeah. So what do you make then of the business model itself? And if you say that the city should be taking over, does it mean that the city takes over all the operations and you no longer have private players? Because if you remember back to 2009, 2010, the taxi industry had pushed back against the implementation and rolling out of BRT. And one of the compromises was actually that there will be a holding company that is formed, and the owners of that holding company would be people that come from the taxi industry because of the loss of income.
In actual fact, fortunately, I was part of some of the discussions around 2007 to 2010. The taxi operators, minibus operators, actually owners, they were turned into shareholders in this company, and it's about 271 of them who happen to be shareholders. So in this case, and with this situation at hand, it means, therefore, whoever that was running the company, Pio-Trans, their primary focus was personal income and profit. They did not care about the maintenance of this particular company itself. So therefore, people are going to lose in the process, particularly taxi owners, because some of the taxis had to be destroyed for them to then form part of this particular Pio-Trans process. And as I've said earlier on, it's not only Pio-Trans, it might even happen to SAMWU as well. Because if Pio-Trans can apply for this, and it says to us, SAMWU can equally do the same. And what happens to the residents of Johannesburg? And our primary issue again is that what will happen to students? Because this particular transport method was easier for parents to afford, and it was accessible, and it made sure that it drops individuals at their nearest places. So if Pio-Trans closes down, it means we are going to have a heavy load on SAMWU operating this particular routes in Johannesburg.
So how do we avoid that?
The only way to avoid that, the government, because all three spheres of government were role players in the implementation of this particular project, national, provincial, and the city of Johannesburg. Because from where we are, we understand this particular project was supposed to stretch to other cities, Yoekuruleni and so on. So the only way to avoid that, the city of Johannesburg must just rise and take full responsibility, take ownership of this particular function, because Pio-Trans, the only thing they provided was buses and drivers. That's the only thing that they mainly provided. And the same drivers were trained from the taxi industry.
Yeah.
So therefore, if the government can plan to that extent, they can equally do it through Metrobus. Let's take the function, place it at Metrobus, and see if ever this thing is not going to succeed. Because from where we are, the only employees that are going to be affected are employees employed by Pio-Trans. Those employed by the City of Johannesburg Department of Transport under Rea Vaya banner, which are cashiers, cleaners, and securities in these stations, are not going to be affected. So we are going to see a mass loss of jobs. And if this rescue doesn't go right, we've seen it happen in SAA and other state entities or state-owned entities.
Yeah. When it comes to the council and the oversight role that it is supposed to play, do you think that the council has failed in this particular part? Not only speaking about the MMC for transport, and we know the instability that there's been in the city of Johannesburg, but should the council also be taking some of the responsibility for the lack of oversight? Also considering, on the other hand, is that the license that was given to the bus operators was for 12 years since 2011, expiring this year, however, though it has been extended again.
In actual fact, they should take full responsibility as council, especially the Section 79 committee that's overseeing transport department. They failed dismally. And remember, their primary priority is to always provide these tenders to their best friends, appoint board members who are their best friends, and board members who are not even capable to operate certain spaces in certain spaces. So this proves that the issue of the City of Johannesburg having these companies outside the City of Johannesburg who then happen to have board members are slowly but surely running the city down the drain. Therefore, we are going to engage the City of Johannesburg as to how do we then bring these entities back to the city and turn them into departments as the city had happened before 2010, your Project Pagamo. So in this case, council must take full responsibility. They failed dismally to make sure that they oversee and manage this particular function properly.
Yeah, in an interview with the Daily Maverick, the business rescue practitioner says that another example of the failure of Pio-Trans is to update the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, that is the CIPC, following a court order that actually some members that are on the board or were on the board were not supposed to have been there in the first place.
It's not the only board in the City of Johannesburg, and we are glad that the courts have even found that against Pio-Trans or the council itself that appointed these board members. You go to JPC, you find a board member who's highly unqualified and who's highly incompetent, a board member who has never worked anywhere, but those people are appointed as board members. And not only there, even in other entities such as Pick It Up as well. So council is continuing to fail the residents of Johannesburg.
Thank you so much for your time. That conversation there speaking about what's happening in the city of Johannesburg, and of course now we have a Pio-Trans which has been placed under business rescue, and as I indicated as well that this year actually the operating license was supposed to come to an end. It was the expiry date of that operating license was until this year 2023, but now it has also been extended. In conversation there with the regional secretary of SAMWU in Johannesburg, Thobani Nkosi.